the cleaner unexpectedly discovered a merman in the laboratory while cleaning. However, she was not only unafraid but also wanted to use eggs to lure him out. But the merman was very cautious. She could only gently tap on the eggshell, and the crisp tapping seemed to be a signal of friendship. The merman slowly poked his head out and then swam to the edge of the pool. Stood up slowly, but the merman did not fully relax his vigilance. Ellie carefully put down the egg and made a gesture, and the merman immediately picked up the egg and jumped back into the water. Since then, their relationship has become closer. Ellie would bring cooked eggs to the merman every day, sometimes even play music. In this way, they gradually became good friends. Later on, Ellie would even dance for the merman. Although they could not speak, they could communicate silently. This scene was coincidentally seen by the doctor in the dark. However, when Ellie came again, she saw the merman chained. Obviously, they had just tortured him. Ellie wanted to unkind him, but she had no key. Suddenly, the laboratory door was opened again, and she immediately hid. It turned out that the experimental staff, Mike, came in. They were about to start the electric shock on the merman and even wanted to perform a vivisection on the merman. All this was only stopped by the doctor, but the commander also agreed because in his view, as long as the result is good, it's okay. Hearing the commander's determination, Ellie, who was hiding in the dark, was completely panicked. In a state of confusion, Ellie immediately went home and found her landlord, one of her few friends. She wanted the landlord to help her save the merman. After a night at the bar, the landlord actually agreed to Ellie's request. In this way, Ellie, taking advantage of her position, quietly turned the angle of the camera. The landlord also came to the back door of the base, disguised as a garbage collector. Ellie came to the laboratory and planned to unkind and take away the merman, but she still had no key. Just then, the doctor appeared and handed over the key. The doctor obviously also intended to let the merman go. He told Ellie how to raise the merman, and even took out a special saw for her. With the doctor's help, Ellie successfully rescued the merman. However, she was caught by her colleague Mary, and on the other side, Mike, who saw the garbage truck in the monitor, felt something was wrong and immediately called the security guard. The security guard found the certificate was fake when checking the documents and immediately took out his gun to force the landlord out of the car. Fortunately, the doctor, who was well prepared, used a magnesium cartridge to burn the power distribution box. While the power was out and all the monitors were out of order, the doctor took the medicine and put it on the security guard. Mary also could not persuade Ellie and immediately joined in. By the time Mike and his men arrived, the merman had been successfully rescued. But when they returned to the residence, the merman had been out of water for too long and was on the brink of death. The landlord quickly placed him in the bathtub, and Ellie sprinkled him with a special kind of salt. After a while, the merman finally came back to life. Later, Ellie would teach him to read books, teach him sign language, and imagine dancing together. In this way, their feelings became better and better. On this day, Ellie firmly stuffed the bathroom door with a bath towel, then turned on all the taps in the bathroom, and the water level kept rising under their feet, soon filling the entire bathroom. Ellie and the merman combined in this way. The landlord, seeing the water seeping from the bathroom door, directly opened it, and all the water gushed out. Ellie and the merman were tightly hugging each other there, and the landlord also understood, closed the door and did not disturb them. Ellie, who tasted the fruit of love, was like a charming peony. She even put on red high heels that were not in her style. Mary, as an experienced person, immediately understood. She was very surprised about how humans and mermen could combine. Ellie could not speak, but she explained everything to her with gestures. Since rescuing the merman, Ellie had planned to release him. The water level of this canal would rise in October, which would be the best time to release the merman. After returning home, Ellie silently marked on the calendar, which was the day of their parting. On the other side, Mike, who lost the merman, was severely scolded by the commander. At the same time, the landlord, who was originally watching the merman, fell asleep, and the merman quietly crawled out of the bathtub and came outside. Everything here was very new to him, and the cat that was originally dancing in the living room attracted all his attention. He was too hungry. When the landlord came out to check the noise, the cat had already entered the merman's stomach. He wanted to stop it, but the panicked merman immediately ran away and scratched the landlord. When Ellie came back, she only saw a mess. The landlord immediately asked Ellie to find the merman. Ellie, relying on the bloodstains on the road, found that the merman had been watching movies in the cinema after escaping. When he came back home, he knew he had done something wrong and apologized to the cat. The landlord also knew he had hurt himself by accident, so he did not blame him, but the self-blaming merman let him hold his head, and then his whole body glowed with blue light. When the landlord changed his arm bandage the next day, he found that the wound of more than 10 centimeters was gone, and the bald head he had had before had grown hair again. Soon the rainy season arrived, and the water level of the canal was also rising. But when it was almost time to release, Mike arrested the doctor and forced him to reveal the whereabouts of the merman. After learning that it was Ellie who took action, he came to Ellie's house based on the staff information. But when he arrived, Ellie had already taken the merman to the canal. The two were making their final farewell by the canal when Mike suddenly appeared. He not only killed the merman but also killed Ellie. Unexpectedly, the merman miraculously revived. He was covered in blue light, wiped his chest with his hand, and healed the wound. With a claw, he killed Mike. Then the merman held the dying Ellie and jumped into the water together. Seeing the woman who had saved him, he hugged her and gave her a deep kiss. The 3 scars on Ellie's neck since childhood turned into gills at this moment. In this way, the two went to the sea together.